One name is taking over tech search right now: Cursor, the AI coding tool that runs on two-thirds of Fortune 500 development teams, just got acquired for $60 billion by a company that also builds rockets and runs an AI lab. Here's what actually happened, what it means for every developer using it, and what's still unknown. Here's why this deal is still topping search more than a week after it dropped. SpaceX announced this acquisition on June 16th, just 4 days after completing what CNBC called the largest IPO in history, raising more than $75 billion. The back-to-back moves hit the tech world fast. A historic public offering, and then 4 days later, a $60 billion bet on the tool developers actually use every day. Developers and investors have been searching this story all week because the deal isn't closed yet and nobody's announced what changes for Cursor users. That's what today's breakdown answers. Here's the confirmed record, sourced to CNBC, TechCrunch, and Bloomberg. On June 16th, SpaceX announced it is acquiring Anisphere, the San Francisco startup behind the AI coding tool Cursor, in an all-stock deal valued at $60 billion. Cursor CEO Michael Truell confirmed the deal in a written statement saying SpaceX exercised their option, quote, with the goal of building the world's most useful AI models. Anisphere shareholders will receive SpaceX Class A shares priced at the 7-day volume-weighted average before close. The deal is expected to close in Q3 2026, pending regulatory approvals. This wasn't a cold approach either. CNBC reported that SpaceX had locked in an option agreement with Anisphere back on April 21st, months before the IPO even happened. Under that deal, SpaceX could pay $60 billion in stock to close or walk away by paying a roughly $10 billion breakup fee. They chose to close. And to understand why $60 billion doesn't shock analysts, you need Cursor's numbers. By February of this year, Cursor had reached $2 billion in annual recurring revenue. CBS News reported that's the fastest any enterprise software company has ever hit that mark. It has more than 50,000 enterprise clients, with roughly two-thirds of Fortune 500 companies having developers who use it daily. Developers on Cursor collectively generate around 150 million lines of enterprise code every single day. That's the asset SpaceX just acquired. Not a flashy app, but the daily infrastructure of how enterprise software gets built. Now the split that actually matters right now. What is confirmed? The agreement is signed, the price is $60 billion in all stock, and both companies publicly announced it. What is not settled? Regulatory approval. At a $60 billion price tag, antitrust scrutiny in both the United States and the European Union is expected. Bloomberg reported the deal includes a $4 billion breakup fee, specifically if antitrust kills it. This isn't hypothetical. CNBC reported that Microsoft had previously explored buying Cursor, but backed away over EU antitrust concerns. SpaceX is now making the same bet Microsoft wouldn't. The outcome of that regulatory process is genuinely unknown, and a developer question nobody can answer yet. What actually changes for your Cursor subscription? Does pricing go up? Does SpaceX start routing all Cursor requests through its own Grok model instead of letting users choose Claude or GPT-4? Does Cursor stay model agnostic, the thing that made it popular, or does it become a SpaceX first product? None of that is in the announcement. What SpaceX did confirm in the official statement is that it has been jointly training a new AI model with Cursor, and that model will be released, quote, soon. That's the only product signal we have. Everything else about the user experience is still unknown. To understand why this makes sense from SpaceX's perspective, you need to know what SpaceX actually is in 2026, because it's not just a rocket company anymore. In February, SpaceX completed its merger with xAI, Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company behind the Grok chatbot, in what CNBC reported as the largest merger of all time, at a combined $1.25 trillion valuation. So SpaceX buys Cursor is really a conglomerate that owns rockets, Starlink satellite internet, and an AI lab, adding the leading enterprise developer tool to its portfolio. Then SpaceX went public on June 11th, raising more than $75 billion in the biggest IPO in history. 4 days later came the Cursor announcement. SpaceX shares jumped 16% on the news, briefly pushing its market cap above $2.9 trillion, surpassing both Microsoft and Amazon per Bloomberg. For the competitive picture, GitHub Copilot, Microsoft's AI coding tool, holds about 29% workplace adoption per Sensor Tower data, cited by TechCrunch. Cursor and Claude Code are now both at roughly 18% each. The gap is narrowing. And Cursor, growing inside a nearly $3 trillion conglomerate, now changes the competitive stakes for GitHub Copilot, for Anthropic, for OpenAI, for every player in the space. Here's my read, and this is analysis, not reporting, so I'm labeling it clearly. The strategic logic is obvious. If xAI wants to compete with OpenAI and Anthropic in the enterprise, buying a tool 2/3 of Fortune 500 developers already run every day is faster than any new model launch could be. The real risk for developers is whether Cursor stays model agnostic. Right now, you can point Cursor at any AI you want. If SpaceX narrows that to Grok first, that's the decision point for millions of developers. I'd watch that product signal over the next 2 quarters. What's next in concrete terms? Antitrust filings in the US and EU expected in coming weeks, the Q3, close if approved, and watch for that jointly trained SpaceX Cursor AI model, which the companies say arrives before the deal closes. Quick recap. Confirmed. SpaceX announced the acquisition of cursor maker Anysphere for $60 billion on June 16th in an all-stock deal, the largest acquisition of a venture-backed startup ever, per CNBC and TechCrunch. Cursor had $2 billion in annual recurring revenue and more than 50,000 enterprise clients at the time of announcement. Unknown. US and EU regulatory approval, and what, if anything, changes for Cursor users on pricing and model choice. This is a developing story and details may change. Everything here is sourced to CNBC, TechCrunch, Bloomberg, and CBS News and is current as of June 24th, 2026. So here's my question for you. If SpaceX starts pushing Grok over Claude and GPT inside Cursor, do you stick with the tool or do you switch? Tell me below. And tomorrow I'm breaking down the next story climbing search right now. See you there.